How to use being wet behind the ears, wet behind the ears. How to use being wet behind the ears to in your business, to supersize, to grow, to help your business to flourish, to continue to progress and move in the direction you want it to do. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here with another interesting idiom. What does it mean? Where did it come from? And how might you be able to apply it to your business today, right now, no matter what's going on in your business, no matter if your business is shut down, if your business is pivoting and changing and growing and responding to the current pandemic and the situation that we're in, or whether your business is just exploding and growing because you're in one of those industries, one of those areas that you're experiencing super growth, and you're actually having your systems and processes and procedures and ways of always doing things taxed because there's so much growing and so much going on with your particular business or industry. Now, this is, of course, a barnyard expression, and growing up on a hobby farm, I learned that when calves or horses are born, the last place that they dry off after they're born, of course, like everything that's born, it's wet, right? It's wet in amniotic fluid, or from the fluid sac, the birth sac, and, kind of gross to think about first thing on a Monday morning, but it's, nature, it's a fact of life. And the little baby horse or the little calf or the little colt, the last place they dry off is that little indent behind your ear, right? There's that the little divot, and it stays wet the longest because, of course, it's like a little bowl. It holds fluid. And that means that it's immature, it's young, it's inexperienced, it's just been born, right? And in the early 20th century, somebody in the armed services decided that they would start calling new soldiers wet behind the ears. Anybody that's new at something or inexperienced or young or immature is often called wet behind the ears. I remember when I first had my first business and my first jobs. My first business was when I was 13, and so I often was accused of being wet behind the ears because what does a 13-year-old know about selling ice? And then throughout other experiences that I had in different jobs and different positions in corporate America and then running my own businesses, I was often, the only woman, or I was the youngest person that was doing the thing that I was doing. And so people would assume and say behind my back and sometimes to my face, oh, you're just wet behind the ears, you don't know what you're doing. And I learned over the years that it doesn't matter how new you are at something. If you're willing to learn and figure it out, if you're willing to do what it takes to get the job done, to get the result that you're looking for, it doesn't matter how much experience you've had or how young you are or anything else for that matter. I learned early on, there's a couple of things that this idiom brought to mind for me with respect to our businesses. Number one, during COVID-19, all of us are feeling wet behind the ears. We're all traversing new territory. We're doing things we've never done before. We're doing things we've done before in all new ways. We're solving problems and working with people in ways we've never even imagined that we would be working with them. We are actually having to step up our game and find new, different, better levels and ways of serving and solving problems for the people that we've been serving all along. I was talking to my daughter, and it's really interesting that the business and the company she was working for before she was let go during COVID has been talking for about a year of wanting to have like a concierge curbside delivery and service for their customers, but they hadn't explored it and they hadn't actually done it. And so now she said they're wishing that they had done it, because if they had, they would already have had that in place for COVID-19, and it would have had a much less dramatic effect on their businesses, which are all shut down right now. And there's a lot of businesses that are going through that, and they will. And guess what? The ones, I'm in Wisconsin, and we've just had our businesses start to open up again late last week and over the weekend. And of course, the city council hopped on it, as I am really proud of them. And they said, okay, yep, you get to open up according to the Supreme Court, but here's the guidelines you're going to follow. And they put some guidelines in place in terms of, people wearing masks, customers and service providers. I'm talking about my nail salon. They, because that's the only business that I went to the sandwich shop to have bought a sandwich, but I've been secretly, and not secretly, they've been open the whole time. There's a sandwich shop on Main Street of Hudson that's been open the whole time and serving people. You could only go in a couple at a time, but you could go in and get your sandwich, or you could call and get it curbside as well, depending on what works for you. And so I have been going there during the whole virus, like once a week I've been going there. Maybe not even once a week. Once every couple of weeks I've been going there. So things are opening up. Things are going not back to normal. It's definitely not normal, but it's the transition period and a new normal. And we're all wet behind the ears with respect to that. But we still have to keep moving forward and focusing on what we can do, not on what we can't do. And that leads me to the second thing. So we're all in this together. We're all wet behind the ears, but we'll all figure it out if we decide that we're going to figure it out and look for what's possible. Look for the things that we can do, and look for the things that we're curious and excited about. Because whenever there's a change in any part of our lives or our world, there's good about it and there's bad about it. And we can focus, we get to decide what we're going to focus on. Are we going to focus on what's bad about it, or are we going to focus on what's good about it? I say, let's focus on what's good about it and keep progressing and moving forward in our business and in our lives. The other thing that it reminded me of, and it really reminds me of, is how we make hiring decisions, how we choose who we're going to bring into our organizations and to our businesses, and who we're not. I worked in a lot of corporations that had really strict hiring guidelines, right? You had to have a college degree, you had to have this amount of experience, 10 years of experience or whatever. And what I found in interviewing thousands of people, literally thousands and thousands of people I've hired throughout my career, because I'm up there in years and I've had a lot of chance to hire people, both for corporate jobs and departments and things that I worked for, as well as for my own businesses. And I learned that just hiring for a list of qualifications is not a good way to make hiring decisions. You always have to hire for character, because skills can always be taught and learned, right? I especially learned this in my own business in hiring. I would always hire for, what's your work ethic and your values and your beliefs, and are you a good fit with this organization, over have you worked in a certain field for 20 years or for a long time or for whatever number of years, or do you have certain degrees that make you qualified, or certifications that make you qualified to do a certain job. In some areas that's really, really important. If I'm hiring a doctor, I want to make darn sure that my doctor's gone to medical school and is qualified and experienced at doing what I want him to do for me. But in a lot of areas, a lot of things that we need help with in our businesses and in our lives, we don't need somebody that is structured and set in their ways of doing things. We need somebody that is got the characteristics that we need for that particular role. And so that's the second thing that I thought of, was like, okay, we have to pay attention to more than just a laundry list of qualifications and expectations of people, and it's definitely but not based on seniority or longevity. And then the last thing is, if we're wet behind the ears, we can use that to our advantage, right? It makes us, if we ask ourselves what else is possible, and when we bring young blood and new blood into our organizations, it often gives them the kick and the different perspective that we need when we're solving problems and looking for ways to provide more value in the world, and to provide more value, to find more ways to help and serve people via our organization. Again, what we focus on is what we will create in our businesses and in our life. And if we stick to our vision and moving toward our long-term vision each and every day, that's how we get where we want to go. So I say, look for people that are wet behind the ears. Be curious, be excited, be always asking yourself, well, how can we do this? What else is possible? How might we serve and help people better? And in that way, you're always looking for the new approach, which is making you also wet behind the ears. Love to know what you think of this expression. Share in the comments below. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow with another interesting idiom. What does it mean? Where does it come from? And how might you apply it to your business right now? Take care and have an amazing day.